To my channel. Yeah, today I'm gonna be doing a video on data types. This is part of the series on five programming concepts, fundamental programming concepts. I think every programmer needs to know. So if you're a beginner in programming, you should start with these five concepts and you know and keep going. So let's get started here. So data types. What are data types? Data types is pretty much how you give your data, like what how you define your data. So it kind of tells you what kind of data you kind of hold in memory. Um, so you could have a number, for example, or you could have a string. A string is a group of characters, right? So it's how you store a piece of text, pretty much. You could have decimals, which are like numeric types. Yeah, you can have a bunch of different variables. You could have booleans as well. So today we're gonna cover integers, like decimals, like floating point data types, which are kind of decimals pretty much. We're also gonna cover strings and we're gonna cover booleans. So let's get started here. So first off, we see this variable age. If you haven't seen my video on variables, by the way, you should check out my last video. I kind of broke down the concepts of variables in a similar fashion. So yeah, so we got this variable called age, and it's holding an integer here, 25. So let's print this out. Let's see what it does. So it tells you the current age is 25. Yeah. All right. So let's uncomment this next piece of code up. So now we have age is set to the value of age uh, plus 2. Let's see what this is going to give us. So we started with the current age is 25, and now we have the age has increased to 27. So an operator can be performed on the data type. So a data type is pretty much defined by all the operations that could be done on that data type. So we have this integer data type, and we can see this plus operator is valid, and that's the addition, right? So that's addition in mathematics. So that's a valid operation on this data type. So if we keep going forward, right here, we uncomment out the next piece of code and we run this again. Now we're gonna see the age has decreased to 17 because we did a subtraction on that. So this is a valid operation on this data type of integer. So let's do one more, or two more rather. Let's just do them together, save some time here. Um, yeah, so now we doubled it. So a multiplication is a valid operation on this data type of integer. And so is a division. Now, if you check the division out, you can see that it converted the solution to a decimal. So by default, when you divide an integer, it's gonna convert to a floating point or a decimal. If you run that again though, and you use this double slash, it's gonna keep it as an integer, as you can see here. The age has been divided by 17 to 2, so it does not have the 2.0 anymore. So that's the definition of that data type. There's some operations that define what an integer is. There's many more, so but the point is not to break down what an integer is. The point is to show you what the variables are. So I'm just gonna comment these out real quick, uh, and we can go to strings right here. So bear with me. I have to like just comment this out manually because it's not an IDE, or it's not a text editing software. So uh, probably faster if I do it that way. Yeah. So let's get to strings right here. So now, what's a string? A string is it's a group of characters. So it's a piece of text in summary. So you could have a name, and you can set it to Chris. Now, how we define a string in most programming languages really is you put a piece of like a string of characters inside of quotation marks. Now in Python, you could use single quotes or double quotes, right? But here I'm using double quotes because it's also quite standard in other programming languages to use double quotes. But so I'm going to use them here. But you can use single quotes as well. So let's run this program and see what it does. So it just says my name is Chris. Now, if you look in the print statement, you already see there is another piece of text. My name is with a space. And you see this operator here. That's in this case, it's a concatenation operator. And this is an operator on string. So we can say a string is also defined by the same, it's well, it looks the same, it's the addition symbol, but it represents something else in for strings as it does for than it does for integers. So let's see some more stuff here. So the same concept is explained in this example here. So where we set the last name to Tilo, and we set the full name to uh, yeah, to the name concatenated with the last name. Now I did this on purpose, so I wanted you to see what happens when you don't intentionally add a white space. So when you concatenate two strings, there is no space in between them. So to actually make this look legit, you would have to add some quotes and add a space. So that's you're adding some white space. Now if you run this again, then it looks better. Yeah. So the plus operator, in this case the concatenation operator, defines, like, it's an operation that's valid on strings, and that's why we have it like that. So let's comment these out real quick. Yeah, and let's run some examples here. So what does this say? Apple, 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 apple. So this operator, which is a multiplication for numbers, is also valid for strings, and it pretty much continues to print this out multiple times. So it's kind of like multiplying, but not in the sense of a number. It's a replication operator for strings. And I forgot that. That's why I kind of like took some time there to think. But yeah, so we see that. And if we comment that out and we look at this here, now we're looking at decimals. And pretty much everything valid for integers is also valid for decimals. So we have the plus, we have the, and I think, yeah, we have the plus. I think I only did one example here just to show you. Yeah. So those operations are, the data type is defined by these operations that are valid on it. So yeah, let's see another example here. So we set the price to 6, changing the value, and then we add 2.5. But now if you notice, on this one, I actually didn't reset the value, so I have to actually do that, or it's not gonna give me what I actually expect. So these are simple things that could go wrong when you code and you have and you look for for what you did wrong. That doesn't do anything actually. So I just ran it again and I added 2.5. So that's valid now. So let's go to the last data type we're going to discuss for today. And remember, there's more operations, more operators slash operations that you could do on these data types. I'm just giving you a brief introduction. So yeah, don't come out here saying there's more and stuff. Yeah, I know there's more, but it's just I'm just giving you what the definition of a data type is, what it means to have a data type. And yeah, so let's go through booleans. Booleans are pretty much very, very useful when you're doing conditionals. That's gonna be the next video, by the way, conditionals, so check that out. Um, so when you do conditionals, you need to make decisions, and you make decisions based on if something's true or if it's false. So let's see what this represents. So here, if you notice, I have true and true. So true in this case is not a string. It's not in quotation marks, right? And it's not a string. It's a keyword, and it's a, you know, it's a Boolean operator. Yeah, so that's an operator for Boolean. So this is valid on Booleans. So true is a Boolean, true is a Boolean. These are data types, these are values. So you could have the value of true or false. So now you have true and true. If two things are true in logic and you have the AND operator, it's going to be a true. That's why we have true here. Uh, if we have true and false, it's going to be false. That's logic. That's the definition of this data type. That's how it works. So this is mathematics right now. So it's nothing. So yeah, it's part of programming, but this is defined by mathematical logic. False and true is false as well, and false and false is also false. So uh, this is so these are some operations. So and is one of the operations you can do on booleans. uh, I'm just going to do all of these at once just to save some time here. I don't need to go through each of these. It should be fairly straightforward, but you can rewatch the video if you don't understand. But yeah, so actually this should be print true or true. Yeah, so another operation you could do on booleans is the or. So one or the other. So you need one of them to be true for it to be true. So let's run all of these. So we can see true or true is true, true or false is true, false or true is true, and false or false is false. So if one option is true, then it's the summation with the or operator, like the or operator is true. So you could have multiple values, by the way. You don't need to have just two, right? You could have true or true or true or false. So you're gonna give you the same thing because one of them is true, right? So yeah, let's go forward here. Uh, I think for booleans actually, there's only really three operations you can do on them, and that's and or not. And I think that's just from logic, but you can combine them in so many different ways. And you got to be careful with booleans because the output is not always what you expect, right? So if you don't like, if you combine like and or and you don't really think it through, you could really mess up your program, and you would have a hard time finding it. So your logic, how you think, has to be correct, right? So you can't just like, the program's not gonna know what you're thinking. So you gotta also follow some rules and try to make this as concise as possible when you use this in conditionals. But we're gonna see in the next video more about conditionals and how you use these Boolean operations. So let's just run this real quick, and this is the last part of the video anyways. So we have not true, and another operation you can run in booleans is the not operation, and this is pretty much negating whatever the value is. So here we have a value of true, and we're negating that. And when you negate true, the opposite of true, the inverse, is false. And likewise with false, when you have not false, it's true. So that's the video, guys. Let me know in the comments, like, if I could do something better. I'm just starting out right now with YouTube, so I'm still learning on the job. So let me know what you think about the video. If it was helpful, give a like. Feel free to subscribe as well. We got more videos coming out. Next video is going to be on conditionals, so stay tuned and have a good one.